You know, imagine this. You're home alone late at night and you hear footsteps in the hallway. You grab your phone, check every corner of the house, but no one's there. Later, when you watch the recording back, you realize the footsteps weren't coming from inside the house. They were coming from just behind you. That's the kind of unexplained encounter we're diving into today. Terrifying, bizarre, and completely unexplainable. Let's get into it. My brother passed away when I was 7 years old. He was 13. He drowned in the lake down the street from our house. My parents never touched his room. They tried once, but they couldn't do it. Too raw. After that, the door just stayed shut. His room became a kind of museum of him. That was 11 years ago. His room still looks the same. This morning while I was packing for college, I thought I'd finally go in there. My plan wasn't anything dramatic. I just wanted to grab a few hoodies, maybe a keepsake or two to take with me. Something to hold on to when I got homesick. Full transparency. I've been in his room plenty of times before. I've sat on his bed. I've looked through his shelves, but I've never really gone digging. That felt wrong, and I never had the inclination to. I just missed my brother. That wasn't my intention today either. It wasn't my intention to find a stack of DVDs shoved into the bottom drawer of his dresser. There were 3 of them, just labeled 1, 2, and 3. The only DVD player in the house is still hooked up to his old TV. Everything else went streaming years ago. For a minute, I told myself not to do it. They weren't mine. They probably didn't matter. I picked up some of the items I had collected, put the DVDs back in his drawer, and returned to my room. Tonight they started calling to me. I know how that sounds. I know you're thinking it was just my curiosity eating at me, but it wasn't like that. It felt physical. A pull in my chest. So I crept back across the hall, slipped into his room, locked the door behind me so my parents wouldn't hear, and I put in the first DVD. It was a home video. I didn't even know we had any. I don't remember my parents ever owning a camera. The video starts with static, then clears just enough to show something. The picture is muddy, warped. It could be the living room, but the furniture looks wrong. Everything is too big or too small, shifting every time the frame jitters. Sometimes it almost looks like a bedroom, sometimes like a hallway. No faces, no clear shapes. Just flickering shadows that don't match what the voices are saying. Because there are voices. Familiar ones. Laughter, clinking dishes, and my mom calling my brother's name. It sounds like family in the background, just out of sight. I hear my brother's laughter, and the sound swallows me whole. It rings through my head, bouncing off the bones that make up my skull. Then beneath it is another voice, low, deliberate, close enough that you couldn't miss it. You haven't noticed yet? Then the video cut off. Just like that. I scrambled to replay it, not even thinking about the other 2 discs still stacked under the TV. I just wanted to hear him laugh again. That laugh. I tried not to think about the end, though the fear of it was crawling slowly up my spine as I hit play, because the way it spoke, it sounded like it wasn't part of the recording at all, like it was speaking to the camera, to me. I pressed play again, this time pausing every few seconds, desperate to make sense of what I was seeing, but nothing held still. Everything on the film looked almost familiar, like a room you swear you've been in but can't place. The walls were little too narrow, and the colors were washed out enough to make it something you've never seen before. It made me feel like my brain was short-circuiting. Then I froze the frame just before the moment he laughed. And there it was, a caption, faint and yellow, burned into the corner of the screen. July 30th, 2015. 7 months after my brother drowned. My first thought was that it was a glitch. It had to be. The camera must have been off by a year. There's no other explanation. I forced myself to breathe and shoved back the rising panic. Then I pressed play again. His laugh filled the room, and for a second, my fear washed away. It was just him again. He was alive, warm, present. A bittersweet rush of comfort and grief. But then the voice returned. Closer this time, wet against the microphone, broken and cutting in and out like static. You noticed. I ripped the DVD out of the player and threw it across the room. I don't even know why I did it. Adrenaline, I guess. My hands were shaking so hard I couldn't control myself. I'm trying to think of logical explanations. I want to believe there's one. But every reason I come up with feels paper thin. I just bolted back to my room and dove under the covers, like that would help. I don't want to watch the other videos. I don't. But I can feel them pulling at me, like they're not finished. Like I owe them something. I can't sleep. It's dark. It's late. The rain just started. The bathroom faucet always drips. But tonight it sounds so much louder.
Make sure to like and subscribe. If you have any stories you would like to share with us, our email is in the description. Let's continue.
I've been delivering medical supplies to rural clinics for 3 years. Most of my route covers isolated areas where small towns have tiny medical facilities that serve farming communities. It's steady work, nothing exciting, except for one clinic in the hills. They started ordering from us 6 months ago. Standard medical supplies at first, bandages, syringes, basic medications. But then they began requesting expired blood products. Not just recently expired, blood that had been sitting in our storage for years. Blood expires after 42 days. This stuff was from 2019, 2020, even earlier. Blood that should have been incinerated long ago, but somehow got missed in our disposal cycles. The first few times, I assumed it was an administrative error. I'd call the clinic to confirm the order, but they always insisted they needed exactly what they'd requested. The older the better, the receptionist would say in a cheerful voice that made my skin crawl. The clinic is about 40 miles outside town, nestled in a valley surrounded by dense forest. It's a small building that looks more like a house than a medical facility. No signage, no parking lot, just a gravel driveway and a front door painted bright red. Every delivery, the same elderly man meets me at the door. He's always wearing scrubs that look decades old, faded and stained. He takes the blood products immediately but leaves the other supplies sitting in boxes by the entrance. The blood is priority, he always says. Everything else can wait. Last month, I arrived during what sounded like a procedure in progress. I could hear medical equipment beeping and multiple voices speaking in urgent, clipped tones. Through the window, I saw shadows moving quickly around what looked like an operating table. But the strangest part was the smell. Not antiseptic or medical, something sweet and metallic that made me nauseated. I knocked and waited. The voices inside went silent immediately, but the medical equipment kept beeping. After 5 minutes, the elderly man opened the door, looking flustered. "You're early," he said, though I was actually 10 minutes late. "Should I come back later?" No, just leave everything here." He gestured to the doorway without taking his eyes off me. Behind him, I could see multiple people in scrubs standing perfectly still, as if waiting for me to leave. That's when I noticed the floor. Dark stains spread across what should have been clean medical tile, leading from the entrance toward the back rooms. Fresh stains. "What kind of procedures do you perform here?" I asked. His smile was wrong, too wide, showing teeth that were gray and pointed. "We specialize in blood disorders. Very rare conditions sounds that require vintage treatments." I left quickly that day, but I couldn't stop thinking about those stains, or the fact that they'd ordered 60 units of expired blood that week alone. Enough for major surgery. But what kind of surgery requires decades-old blood? 2 weeks ago, I made a mistake. I arrived at the clinic, but forgot to bring their main order. 40 units of blood from 2018. I only had current supplies in my truck. When I explained the situation, the elderly man's expression changed completely. His fake pleasant demeanor vanished, replaced by something predatory. "We need the old blood," he said. "Only the old blood works for our patients." "I can bring it tomorrow." "Our patient is on the table now. She's been waiting for hours." Through the window, I saw someone lying on the operating table in the back room, but they weren't moving at all. No chest rising or falling, no shifting position. They looked like a corpse. "Is your patient alive?" I asked. "She will be," he said, "once we give her what she needs." I got back in my truck immediately and drove away. In my rearview mirror, I saw multiple figures in scrubs come outside and watch me leave. They stood there until I was completely out of sight. I tried researching the clinic online, but found nothing. No medical license, no business registration, no records of it existing at all. The address officially belongs to an empty lot, but they keep placing orders. 50 units last week, 70 units yesterday, all expired blood dating back years. I stopped delivering there personally and sent my assistant instead. He came back pale and shaking. "There were bodies," he whispered, "on tables throughout the building. Dozens of them. Some looked fresh. Others looked old, really old. But they were all connected to IV drips of that black, spoiled blood." "Were they alive?" "I don't know. But when I walked past, some of them opened their eyes and looked at me."
Thanks for tuning in. Watch another video if you dare.